7 p.m. Please stand as McKenna Falk leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, going on to item 6, roll call. Roll call will reflect that all board members and cabinet are present. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 3rd, 2022 as submitted?
I make a motion. I make a first for Tricia Pierce.
Is there a second?
Second, Wendy Jonathan.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of May 3rd. Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I will be abstaining as I was not present at the May 3rd board meeting. This motion carries. 8, board meeting addenda. Superintendent Bailey, is there any addendum to this evening's agenda?
No change.
Thank you. Moving on to number 9, approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting of May 17th, 2022?
I motion McKenna Falk.
Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
It has been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? This motion carries. Item 10, community staff student recognition. Superintendent Bailey.
Thank you. I'd like to invite up to the podium Ms. Mary Perry, our PIO, and while she's approaching the podium, I just want to give a shout out. May 13th was School Communicators Day nationwide, so a shout out to our communications team.
Thank you. Before I start, I'm going to tell you that there are as many people out in the hall in the foyer as there are in here. So before I make a recognition, I'm going to let the people know who are going to be recognized, okay? And Rebecca said that she would help me out. So Rebecca, if you could tell all the World Quest folks to come on in. That's it. We only have the one student for World Quest, so he's going to have to represent the entire team. And of course, Principal Zink is here as well. So the Academic World Quest team from Palm Desert High School aced the March 3rd competition against 7 other Coachella Valley high schools. But even more exciting, right, is the news that they took home 3rd place against schools from all over the United States. The competition took place in Washington, D.C. at the end of April, and I'm told you had a great time in D.C., right? Yeah. So if team members are here, just stand up and wave. So Joseph Lehman, Evan Linderman, Shafal Munyal, and Ian Randolph, and coaches Patricia Lisa. But there she is, come on. And of course, the amazing principal, Dennis Zink. So locally, I'm told that PDHS placed first after 8 rounds and 2.5 hours of competition with a score of 69 out of 80. And the scholarships were awarded to each student in the top 3 teams. First place, including Joey, got $300 apiece. Second place, $200. Third place, $100. And additional congratulations to the 3rd place team, La Quinta High School. And here's Patricia. Do you want to say anything, Patricia? She's going, no way. Okay, Charles, can I read what you told me? Sure. Okay, here's what she told me. She said the PDHS team has won the local competition in 2015, 17, 18, 19, and 22. And in 16 and 21, they placed second. The 2020 competition wasn't held because of the pandemic. So nationally, in addition to this year's 3rd place win, In 2021, they placed 10th out of a field of 103 teams. And in 2018, they placed second out of 48 teams in a tiebreaker round. So, Patricia, does the word wow say it all? So congratulations. You like that one? Zoe, thank you for being here. Take a bow. Thank you very much. Rebecca, the next group we're looking for are the Palm Desert High School boys cross country team and the Shadow Hills girls wrestling team. Boys cross country. Come on up, guys. All right, guys, if you want to go ahead and line up out in front of the stanchions. So I think you all know Mike Barney. In case you don't, this is Mike Barney from our COE, and he's here to award these two teams awards for academic excellence because of their high GPAs as part of their athletic team. So Mike, do you want to take it away?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mary. Always fun to be here and good to see some familiar faces. So I am here representing my superintendent of Riverside County, Dr. Edwin Gomez. So just a few words for this. This is the 21-22 academic athletic team awards. Riverside County initiated this academic athletic team award 22 years ago to recognize the many successes our schools have and demonstrating that positive relationship between academics and athletics. And these young men and young women are surely showing all that. Keep in mind, they represent the 430,000 kids in Riverside County, so it's a big group out there. From Palm Desert High School, we'd like to thank Principal Dennis Zink. I saw Dennis, right? Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. For having me here to recognize this achievement. We'd also like to congratulate Coach Bellows or Sterlings. Are they? Oh, there you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I just want to, I've got something for you, Coach, if you want to come over here, so I don't forget you. No, I think I'm okay. So we do have some patches for Letterman jackets and then a plaque to go with it. But I do want you guys to realize the boys cross country team had the highest GPA reported for their sport at 4.43 GPA. So congratulations, boys. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then from Shadow Hills, we'd also like to thank Principal Gabriel Fajaro, who's, I know he's not here, but he's a good friend. Congratulations for actually allowing this to happen. But also, we'd like to congratulate Coach Jody Davis, and I did see Coach. Thank you, Coach, for being here. Again, scholar athletes. The girls wrestling team at Shadow Hills High School. My daughter went there for 2 years, just to let you know. There's a little. Actually, they went to Palm Desert too, so I should have probably mentioned that. You soon forget. Okay. The girls wrestling team at Shadow Hills had the highest GPA reported in their sports at a 3.68 GPA. Congratulations, girls. And Coach, if you just want to pick up your Letterman patches, if you could, and then your plaque is coming in the mail tomorrow. I heard it's being delivered. Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations, boys and girls. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I'm just going to quickly read your names, so when I say your name, go ahead and wave. So Christian Baus, Connor Crow, Julian Elliott, Bryce Jankowski, Creighton Tucker, Carson Weisner. And the ladies, if you're here, wave. Is it Anali Aguilar, Hazel Bagby, Haley Brandt, Atalia Cano, Ava Fromm, Allison Lang, Giselle Lockley, Kaylin Montano, Isabel Navarro, Allison Ortiz, Samantha Perez, Alexia Sanchez, Alexia Valdez, Sherilyn Villasenor Mendoza, hopefully I got that right, and Alyssa Zapata. Congratulations. I think people are still taking pictures. Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, one more picture. Rebecca, I'm looking for Adrian and Santiago Amparo and Lisa McCall. Here she is. So I'm going to take this opportunity to recognize some authors on the DSUSD staff. So you can see up there is this book. Let me pick it up here. And I just read this book last week to the Earhart first graders, and they loved it, loved it. So Desert Ridge Academy teacher Adrian Amparo has had several children's books published, and his most recent chef d'oeuvre is Our Custodian is a Superhero. And the illustrator of the book is his son, Shadow Hills High School student Santiago. And the books are available on Amazon, and these two gentlemen were recently featured in Riverside County Office of Education social media focused on authors in our community. So congratulations and thank you. And joining them is Dr. Carrie Ann Academy Principal Lisa McCall. Lisa, come on up here. And her book, you can see the picture up there, is Test Less, Assess More. It too is available on Amazon and was also featured by our RCOE in their Authors Recognition Program. And her book, as she explained it to me, is they look at the disconnect between looking at testing results and using the data to drive instruction. And her goal is to create an understanding of the importance of student assessment beyond testing. And Lisa tells me there's a follow-up book in the works, right? Yes, it's coming. So, and we've ordered the book for our own library here at the district office, but it hasn't come in yet. So thank you. I think everybody for this next one is in here, but we'll see how it goes, okay? So the next honorees I would like to bring up are the schools that, the high schools, have been ranked in the annual U.S. News and World Report. There are over 18,000 high schools in the United States, 3,892 in California alone. So let me say that again, 18,000 high schools and 3,982 in California. So keep that in mind as I provide you with the rankings for DSUSD. Palm Desert High School, Dennis, Principal Dennis Sink, number 328 in California and 2,282 across the nation. Now remember, that's out of 18,000. La Quinta, I did not see Dr. Wilson. Is there anyone else from La Quinta High School administration? Well, we'll recognize them anyway. And they're 644 in California, 4,341 across the nation. Shadow Hills Principal Fajardo is not here, but I think we have an assistant principal. We have Ms. Fernandez here. Karen. So Shadow Hills is number 648 in California and 4,355 in the national rankings. And Indio, I did not see Principal Lawson, excuse me. I don't think I see anybody else from Indio. They are 1,104 in California and 9,464 in the nation. And I also want to let you know that Horizon School was also featured in the rankings. Horizon School, which is our virtual school, is 1,191 in California and 11,471 for the United States. So, and I didn't see anybody from Horizon, right? Okay. And these statistics will be in the minutes, so you'll be able to, in case you can't remember all those numbers. And I do think our next young lady is here, right? Did I miss somebody? Dr. Ramirez is here. Well, I can't see you over there. So Dr. Jose Ramirez from Horizon, as well as he's also the principal of Summit, which is our school this evening, right? Horizon's our school. For some reason, I thought it was Summit tonight. So Horizon. So congratulations. I think we'll hear from you later on. And the next award, or the next honoree, is, well, I'll tell you a little bit about it first. So many of our schools have a Renaissance program. I think you know that. And it's a program sponsored by Jostens, the company that produces yearbooks and class rings and caps and gowns. And their Renaissance program works with students on respect, recognition, reward, reinforcement, and relationships to all add up to results. And the Renaissance programs promote service to schools and to the community. Each month, they recognize one student and one teacher selected from the thousands of participants from across the country. So the May National Renaissance Student of the Month is Diamond Edwards-Aberry from Desert Ridge Academy. Diamond, come up here because a former Renaissance teacher of the award, your teacher, Teresa Amade, actually has something for you from Renaissance.
I just want to say Diamond. It's funny because our mascot is the Diamondbacks, as you know, and she sparkles like a diamond, and I tell her that all the time. She's a recent import and a sixth grader, if you can believe that, from Chicago, and she is brilliant and amazing, and I love her so much, don't make me cry. Okay, and this is from National Jostens. There is a lapel pin for your lanyard and a letter from them, and a really swaggy, very nice Hydra flask that is engraved. There's only 12 of these that go out a year for Student of the Month from Jostens. Thank you very much, Diamond. I love you! I love her!
Simon, do you want to say anything? Do you want to say anything? No. Clearly, she's not going into my career field. The next one is for Abraham Lincoln Elementary School, and there are 3 teachers, I believe, here this evening as part of the recognition, and they are Jean Pollard, a 5th grade teacher in the room. Do you want to check? Oh, I see them waving out there, so here they come. So congratulations to Abraham Lincoln Elementary School for being named a Common Sense school. And I've been up here at previous times to talk to you about Common Sense schools, and I kind of like the idea that they aren't announced all at once so that we can celebrate everybody individually. And as you know, the designation of a Common Sense school is about teaching children to be reliable and responsible digital citizens. So congratulations to Mary Alice Owings and her entire team. And there was supposed to be 3, and I'd like to pretend I know which 2 you are, so humor me. So Jean Pollard, a 5th grade teacher. Becky Poirier, a 4th grade teacher. And Katie Reichel, I guess, couldn't make it. So congratulations to all of you. It's really a fabulous designation. Congratulations. And now I have 2 awards I'm going to give over here to Blanche. So these are certificates of recognition for our 2021 California School Boards Association Golden Bell Awards. And I had spoken to you before about our Golden Bell Awards, and it's amazing for a school district to receive 2 in 1 year. So we want to thank the California School Boards Association for recognizing us. The awards were in recognition of our early literacy initiative and our Leadership Academy. And I'm now going to hand the microphone over to Dr. Carrie Penny, our Avid guru and leader. And if you want to, Rebecca, let anybody who's here for the Avid recognitions into the room. Well, I think Carrie's out there, actually. Carrie promised me that she would talk as fast as me. So we're going to see if she can really do that.
Wow. It's a crowd. Yeah, you should. Sure. Wow. For Avid. Here's the legislative recognition for the Golden Bells that just came in.
Carrie, are you going to come over here and join me?
I guess. I'm not sure what to do with it. We have lots of awards for the last couple of stacking up.
All right, Carrie, you have 5 minutes.
Please play nicely.
I think they're all coming in right now, so we'll just wait a second. But I'd like to take this opportunity while they're all coming in to thank all the teachers and Avid parents that are here tonight to celebrate these kids. And I'm going to call Amy Kincaid up. Oh, there she is right behind me. She is the program manager from RIMS Avid and has come out to help with the celebration tonight. So I think we're ready. Okay, here we go. Every year, RIMS recognizes Avid standout students from 5th, 8th, and 12th grade, and these very special students we are about to introduce you to were nominated by their teachers and peers. An Avid standout student exemplifies the college and career readiness skill sets and leadership qualities. The students this year have demonstrated their individual determination to persevere and overcome any obstacle. They are hardworking scholars who put forth their best effort academically using Avid Wicker, writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading to learn strategies to achieve individual goals and exemplify a successful Avid scholar every day. In Desert Sands, Avid Elementary school-wide culture can be found at 8 sites. The following students are being recognized for their efforts to be organized with their thoughts, time, and materials. They use their Avid agendas to goal set and reflect on both their personal and academic life. RIMS Avid and Desert Sands are proud of their determination to be scholars. Our first elementary standout student is Adrian Ibarra. Adrian is a hard-working scholar, and he puts great effort in his academic work to achieve his goals through scaffolding, collaboration, organization, and determination. From Lincoln Elementary, and I know we all want to celebrate, but I was given 5 minutes, so we're going to hold all the clapping until the very end, if possible. So from Lincoln Elementary, we are recognizing Camilla Aruas. I think I said that right. Camilla is a wonderful student who uses everything she learns to help her continue to be successful. From Monroe Elementary, our standout 5th grader is Trevor Smith. Trevor is a well-rounded student who excels in all academic areas and possesses strong organizational skills. From Reagan Elementary, our standout student is Christian Meza. Christian is an exemplary student who displays the Avid principles daily as he strives for excellence in all he does. From Van Buren Elementary, we are recognizing 5th grader Olivia Andrade. Olivia is an all-around excellent student who models strong organizational skills, attention to detail, and perseverance. From Johnson Elementary, our 5th grade standout student is Aiden Dean. Aiden is eager to share his experiences, knowledge, and strategies with his classmates, which have shown to help his fellow students succeed.
From Roosevelt Elementary, we are recognizing the work of Santiago Montes. Santiago, is a standout student because he is a problem solver and will tackle any academic challenge. From Carter Elementary, our standout student is Madeline Sullivan. Madeline is a well-rounded scholar who takes initiative and is able to handle any academic demand. We can give the elementaries a round of applause. Awesome. So in Desert Sands, Avid Middle School-wide culture can be found in all 7 middle schools, and the Avid elective is a home away from home for many of the students who apply to be a part of Avid. The following students are being recognized for their efforts in exploring careers and colleges, collaborating with their peers, utilizing focused note-taking to process, learn, leading Socratic seminars, and continuing to stand out as a role model and exemplar successful student. RIMS Avid and Desert Sands are so proud of their collaborative leadership skills. Our first recipient of the 8th grade RIMS Avid Standout Student Award is Angelina Medina from Page Middle School. Angela is the definition of Avid. She is on task, organized, a critical thinker, and an excellent school citizen, and always focused on wicker inquiry. From Desert Ridge Academy, our standout student is Carol Flores. Carol is our standout student because she shows every day that she is motivated to achieve success and has developed strong leadership skills. From Indio Middle School, we are recognizing Rochelle Sandoval. Rochelle is a hardworking scholar who uses all of her Avid strategies to meet her academic goals and is looking forward to going to college. From John Glenn Middle School, we have Michaela Mayo, and she is actually sitting up front here with her crutches. So we're still going to celebrate her because she embodies all the qualities we want to see in our Red Hawk scholars, both inside and outside the classroom. She is kind, respectful, hardworking, and motivated. From La Quinta Middle School, we are recognizing Liliana Perez Chavez. Liliana is an exceptional young lady who excels at organization and collaboration with her peers. She exemplifies what it means to have individual determination, and she is an amazing EL student. From Jefferson Middle School, our 8th grade Avid Student Award recognizes Romina Lopez Mendoza. Romina is a dedicated Avid student and leader in her Avid class and a student leader on campus through ASB. She surpasses all expectations. From Palm Desert Charter Middle School, we are recognizing Yismena Castellanos. Yimena, I'm so sorry. It's the French background. As our 8th grade student standout, Yismena strives every day to be her personal best, both academically and personally, and she uses the tutorials every week to help her meet her goals and expectations. These are your middle school standout students. Senior standouts every year are probably the most difficult to select because all of our Avid seniors are amazing and ideal Avid scholars. This year we celebrate 123 Avid seniors in our district. The following students are being recognized for embracing their academic journeys, embodying the core belief in Avid's individual determination, and surpassing all of our expectations. RIMS Avid and Desert Sands are so proud to introduce you to the class of 2022, soon to be high school graduates and Avid standout students. Our first Avid senior standout student is from Indio High School, Julianne Ochoa Palomares. Juliana, in addition to being a star student, Avid student, is completing her CTE Health Academy pathway. Juliana is most proud of getting accepted to 5 amazing universities: CSUSB, CSU, Sacramento, UC Davis, UC Riverside, and UC San Diego. She has decided to pursue pre-nursing this fall at Cal State San Bernardino. From La Quinta High School, Haley Pfeiffer is being given a special senior standout award titled Avid IB Learner. Haley has completed the IBTOK Theory of Knowledge components of the LQ Avid program and has excelled in all components of the class. Haley represents the ideal Avid and IB learner because she is open-minded and inquirer, values multiple perspectives, seeks evidence for understanding, and evaluates her own knowledge. Haley has shown how theory of knowledge manifests in the real world through an exceptional TOK exhibition and essay. From Palm Desert High School, we are excited to celebrate Ricardo Castaneda as our senior standout. Ricky will be graduating summa cum laude, brutal, honors due to his 4.5 GPA in the coming weeks from Palm Desert High School, and he exemplifies advancement via individual determination every day. From Shadow Hills High School, we are proud to recognize Dara Ramos as our Avid senior standout. Dara is the perfect example of what hard work and perseverance can do. While many choose to slide through their senior year, Dara opted to take 5 AP classes and honors class, finishing with a 4.5 GPA, and she sets the standards for all other Avid students who will follow in her steps. And now for our last award, I have a special guest from RIMS Avid who is here to present the final 2 awards to Daniela Cardosa.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. So RIMS Avid Scholarship Committee awarded 100 $1,500 scholarships this year. And Daniela is one of the recipients. However, Daniela is also the only recipient in the region to not only win that scholarship, but she also received the RIMS Avid and Cal State San Bernardino combined scholarship for being such an exemplary student. And it goes to note that both of these committees are separate, so they have nothing to do with one another. So the fact that she earned and achieved both is such an amazing accomplishment. So let's cheer her on.
Thank you, Amy. Her teachers are so proud of Daniela. She dreams of becoming an elementary teacher with the goal of one day becoming a principal. Daniela is well-organized, goal-oriented, motivated, and is a great example of the Black Hawk Way. She will be attending the Cal State University in San Bernardino. So with that, I would like to extend one of our students to do the roller coaster cheer, and then you're welcome to clap all you want. They did receive their certificates, and we're going to head out and take pictures outside as well, but you're welcome to snap some photos right now. So Adrian, are you ready to lead us? Woo! Woo! Awesome. These are your 21-22 Avid Standout Scholars. Great job.
Dr. Penny, there was one student before Haley's. Her picture was up, but you were reading.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to miss anybody. I missed somebody?
No, I didn't miss them. It was out of order. Salary. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was that one.
Yeah, it was reading.
Okay. Yeah. All right. They were just out of order. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure
Did I miss somebody?
No, you
Okay.
didn't. No, you no.
Okay. I don't want to miss anybody. Thank you so much.
Before Carrie takes all of them out of the room, I didn't know if the board wanted to make comments to them before they scoot out of here.
I just want to say really quick, hi, Haley Pfeiffer. I was your second grade teacher. I love you, Haley. Oh, there's your dad. Hi, how are you guys? I'm giving you a hug. Tell you, Hud, you haven't changed.
That
was only 10 years ago.
That was my last year teaching.
Thank you, Mrs. Perry.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 11, introduction of new or recently promoted employees. Superintendent Bailey.
Actually going to defer to Dr. Hyde, our Assistant Superintendent of Personnel Services.
Thank you so much. I'm pleased to introduce Craig Christensen, Principal, Lincoln Elementary School. Craig Christensen earned his Bachelor of Science in Liberal Arts, K-6, and Special Education from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. His Master of Arts in Middle School Education from California State University, San Bernardino, and his preliminary administrative credential from the Riverside County Office of Education. Mr. Christensen began his professional career in 1997, teaching a first and second grade combination class at Palm Springs Unified. In 2000, he joined the DSUSD family as a second grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary School. In 2006, he felt a desire for professional growth and made the daring decision to transfer from elementary to middle school. From 2006 to 2009, he taught sixth grade math and science at Page Middle School. In 2009, he was hired by Dr. Dan Borgen as the Dean of Students at Desert Ridge Academy. It was there that Dr. Borgen began mentoring him on administrative responsibilities and helped him find a purpose in his role in education. In 2016, he moved to La Quinta Middle School to serve as an instructional coach, and in 2018, he was promoted to assistant principal. And now, after 22 years, he's going back to where he began, at Lincoln Elementary School as the proud principal. I'm being shut off already. Okay. Mr. Christensen was the Palm Springs Unified New Teacher of the Year for the 97-98 school year, Lincoln Elementary School's Teacher of the Year for 2002-2003 school year, Page Middle School's Teacher of the Year for the 2007-2008 school year, the Desert Ridge Academy's Teacher of the Year for the 2009-10 school year, and he also received an honor from the Indio City Police Chief Commendation in 2016. Mr. Christensen states that he bleeds green and gold for the Green Bay Packers. He has not missed a game since the mid-90s. He also enjoys going to Big Bear on weekends to walk the trails and his dogs. He loves going to Florence, Oregon every summer to hike, fish, crab, and let his dogs run on the beach. Mr. Christensen wants to acknowledge his wife Tammy first and foremost for 24 years of support and patience. He also wants to thank his children, Taylin, Clayton, Malia, and his dogs Jasper and Sandy for sharing Mr. C with the DSUSD family. He wants to personally thank every student, parent, and staff member who he has had the privilege to work with throughout the years. And finally, he would like to give special thanks to Dr. Dan Borgen, Daniel Martinez, Security Agent Manuel Torres, Mrs. Karen Flaherty, and Mrs. Maria Timaeus, who have all made an impact on his life that words cannot express. We are very excited to have Mr. Christensen as the new leader of Lincoln Elementary School. Mr. Christensen, please say a few words and maybe introduce your guests.
You said it all. First and foremost, I want to say good evening to our student representative, to our school board, Superintendent Bailey, and our cabinet. I truly want to thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to be named the next principal of Abraham Lincoln Elementary School. It truly and sincerely is an honor. I want to thank my wife, Tammy. You guys may know her, she's around here a little bit. And also my children, Taylor and Clayton and Malia, who are all products of DSUSD as well, for their support, patience, and encouragement. I'd also personally like to recognize Dr. Dan Borgen. 13 plus years we've been together. We call it a marriage. I'm not ready for the separation, but I want to thank him for his his guidance, mentorship, and friendship. I want to say, as Dr. Hyde said, 22 years ago, I started my career at Abraham Lincoln Elementary School. So I want to say, Lincoln Leopards, I'm coming home. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, comments from the board for our community recognition and our new recently promoted employee. Ms. Falk, do you have any comments?
Good job. I don't know. Good job.
Ms. Pierce?
Wow, there's so much going on. It's just amazing. Everything from the academic world quest, and being able to go to Washington, D.C., the athletic academic teams being able to keep their GPAs so high and participate with all their practices and games, and Mr. Amparo's book writing skills and Ms. McCall's. Then to see how well our high schools ranked in this U.S. News and Report. Lincoln earning the Common Sense Award for digital citizenship is very important with the kids on the computers so much. And the Avid kids are amazing. I love to go see them at the school sites and see that they are writing in their agendas, they're staying organized. If you ask them, as a parent, I can appreciate those agendas to come home and say, what do you have to do tonight? Oh, I don't know, well, it's right there. And then most of all to Craig Christensen, and congratulate him on his appointment. It's well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Porras?
Well, you pretty much said everything, so I can't reiterate everything. But I just want to say that congratulations to everyone and to Daniela Cardoso for earning both of the scholarships. That's pretty impressive. I wish that when I was a kid, I'm old, so we did not have Avid when I was growing up. But it would have been great to have something like that for us to learn how to be a student and be an adult, really. And so I think it's wonderful that it's offered and that our kids are taking advantage of it and just really excelling in that. And also, Craig, I don't know you, but apparently you're very well liked. And I think you need to aim higher. You're just like off the charts with everything. So I just wish you all the best, and I look forward to coming and seeing you, and you just full circle. And I think it's just really great. And you obviously have the wonderful support of your family, and puppies are important, so that's great. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Jonathan.
Yeah, I want to first congratulate the team from Palm Desert High School World Quest winners. I have to tell you, Patricia, the coach, she should get an award herself because, she's the one that really prepares those students, and for them to have so much success, and literally almost every year she's brought them to the state or the national level is quite impressive. The students, of course, that was wonderful, but I think that we need to also recognize our educators and our coaches that are working with the students. Adrian Ampero, is he still here? He knows because I sent him an email after I saw his article about it months and months ago, so I went to Amazon, I got the book, and it's worth reading. It's a really cute little book about our custodian is a superhero, and every teacher will tell you the first person you meet on campus, you've got to make sure you're good friends with that custodian because they'll make or break your year. You've got to make sure they're your bud. It's always good to see the ranking from USA Today. Love to see that our schools are continuing to excel. Again, all the great awards. Avid, as Ms. Porras had mentioned about Ms. Cardoso, congratulations. And it was also a treat because when they put the name up, I said, Haley Pfeiffer. Haley Pfeiffer was in my second grade class the last year I taught at Reagan Elementary, and we have the same principal that was there when Haley Pfeiffer was there. So that was quite exciting. And Craig, Craig and I know each other because the first year I was teaching in Palm Springs Unified, just like Craig was, and we both came over the same year to Lincoln Elementary, and we were both the second grade teachers over there, the brand new second grade teachers. And I will tell you, he's a keeper. He's an amazing educator. And then I would see you move on to vice principal at the schools, and you were amazing. And Tammy, I guess maybe the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. That's why he's so good, right, Tammy? No, Craig is a keeper, and I did my student teaching over at Lincoln Elementary, so it holds a special place in my heart. And then first year I came over, I was there, so I'm really excited that you're coming to Lincoln. It gets me emotional, and I'm so happy for you. So they're blessed to have you. So
I think everything was covered. Congratulations to everybody. And as a shareholder of the Green Bay Packers, I get you. Yeah, it is awesome. It is awesome. Next thing you know, I think the colors will be changing at an elementary school. All right.
No blue and gold.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to move on to item number 12, informational. There is none. Item 13, staff conference items. Superintendent Bailey.
Yes, I would like to introduce our student board member, our outgoing student board member, that is, McKenna Falk, who's going to be delivering the ASB report for Horizon this evening. And I understand you're going old school without any visual aids. Is that correct? All right, the show's yours.
Good evening, President Conover, Superintendent Bailey, members of the Board of Education, and members of the audience. My name is McKenna Falk. I am a senior at Horizon School. I would like to introduce Horizon School Principal, Dr. Jose Ramirez. That's right there. I have the privilege of sharing the many positive things happening at Horizon School. Horizon School is a DSUSD independent study school which affords students a quality education comparable to comprehensive high schools while allowing them flexibility in their schedules. However, they may need to seek outside outlets for various extracurricular activities available at comprehensive schools. I transferred to Horizon School in March of 2019. Little did I know how transferring to Horizon would be such a benefit 1 year later when the world of education changed for all students due to COVID. During my first year, there were 15 teachers, 2 in K through 8, 2 in Opportunity, 1 Vista Special Education, 9 in high school, and 1 counselor. All students had weekly appointments where we attended 3 one-hour labs in English, math, and science in small group settings and saw our elective teachers one-on-one for about 15 minutes. This format is why many students choose to attend Horizon School. We are able to receive instruction that is more appropriate to our needs. At the beginning of this school year, Horizon School looked very different. Our teacher staff has increased from 15 to 35. We have added 20 new teachers in grades TK through 8. Horizon School is now the district's virtual academy. Our students in grade TK through 8 are completely virtual, and our high school is at least 90% virtual. Horizon is the home to 9 programs with the increased enrollment. Virtual Academy for grades TK through 5 Independent Studies Homeschool Model, Virtual Academy for middle school, high school, Opportunity Programs 10th grade, CWOP grades 9 through 12, and a new 10th and 11th grade program, and Vista grades 9 through 12. The transition to virtual has been an ever-changing task. With the help of the DSUSD Technology Department, it has been a success. Our teachers have become pros on Zoom. Yes, sometimes they're still on mute, and so are we. Teachers have embraced technology like Google Classroom, Everything Google, Seesaw, Doc Cams, Huddle Cams, LFDs, as well as the new tech like eGlass, which is an illuminated transparent writing glass with a built-in camera that captures the teacher's face and writing in the same picture. It has been very successful. Our students have also been able to take part in the McCallum Theater Education online series, Mommies and Muffins, visits to the College of the Desert, and field trips to the Palm Desert Civic Center. We also continue to host drive-through semester award assemblies to congratulate all the honor roll students, which helps encourage students to excel in school. And the parents really enjoy seeing their kids be honored for their hard work. During distance learning, many families discovered they enjoy the flexibility that online learning provided them. All students need to attend class, but at Horizon, all they need is a computer and Wi-Fi. Students could be at home, at their grandparents', or even in the car. Parents become more involved in their child's education. As the rest of the district transitioned back into person learning, many families decided Horizon School Independent Studies was the place for them. This has allowed parents to have a greater exposure to the teaching that is going on, as many of them are close at hand when we, the students, are in class. But it hasn't made it any easier for them to learn our new math. Horizon School is important to me because the school and faculty help me better prepare for my future with independence and strength. I now feel more confident and prepared for my future because I was given the tools to problem solve, prioritize, and manage my time to make certain all my assignments are complete as required and challenge myself not just in the classroom but at home too. The variety of classes and opportunities Horizon School has given me helps me all around become a better student and person. Going into college during the pandemic can be tough, but because I attended Horizon School, I feel confident that I can work efficiently and stay on task through online learning. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this district will continue to support Horizon School's Independent Studies virtual program and our other programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, McKenna. You represent your school well. I have a plaque in recognition of your service on the school board.
Thank you. On to item 13.2, dual language immersion presentation. Superintendent Bailey.
Yes, I'll pass this one on to the incoming superintendent, Dr. Kelly Mae Vollmer.
Good evening. I see Dr. Randolph is already at the podium, so she'll be delivering our dual language immersion program report for this evening. She is the Director of State and Federal Projects.
Good evening, governing board members, cabinet, and Superintendent Bailey. I'm happy to be here tonight to present an update on our dual language immersion program. California is a multilingual state. With the passage of Proposition 58, California English Learner Roadmap, as well as Global California 2030, we've seen the pathways open for more multilingual programs, and Desert Sands took that call to action and implemented the dual immersion program. You'll see terminology has changed, and multilingual learner is one term that you'll hear me talk about, which encompasses a variety of learners. But let's start with what is a dual language immersion program? A dual language immersion program develops bilingualism and biliteracy in English and a second language by integrating multilingual learners. Our timeline, it actually began in 1819 with a planning year. We contracted out with the California Association for Bilingual Education, and we took that year to develop the program and to implement it starting in the year 2019-20. And then as we move to today, you can see in 21-22, we have classrooms up to second grade. Next year, we'll be continuing with our third grade classrooms at both Jackson Elementary and Reagan schools. Tonight we have in attendance Mark Baldwin. He's from Ronald Reagan Elementary School. We also have Dr. Jose Montaño and Diane Tijerina from Jackson School. From the district office, state and federal projects facilitators, we have Joanne Lira back here. Wait, please. And Richard Romero back in the corner there. So both are instrumental in the development and implementation of the dual language immersion program. So as we move forward and as we extend the program into the secondary level, we will be expanding into Desert Ridge Academy Middle School and then to Shadow Hills High School. It will be here before you know it. And when we implement the program at a secondary level, the program requirements include a world language course in Spanish, as well as a core content class, such as math, science, social studies in Spanish. So as we began to plan our program, as well as ongoing self-assessment, we used a tool called the Guiding Principle for Dual Language Education. This was published by the Center for Applied Linguistics, and it's considered the gold standard for planning and evaluating dual language programs. So what I'm going to briefly do is walk through the 7 strands and give you a quick update on our status in each area, or some foundational information for about each area. So program structure, as most of you know, but just in quick review, we have a 90-10 model in which our kindergarten students are learning 90% of their day is presented in Spanish. Spanish will decrease, English will increase until we have a 50-50 percentage at 4th grade. So as our district leadership team, dual language immersion district leadership team, several years ago in the planning stage, we created a vision and mission. And our vision and mission statements illuminate the goals of a dual language education program. And for example, our mission really stresses a rich multicultural experience, a rigorous curriculum, and academic and linguistic proficiency. Our mission really promotes innovative biliterate learning environments, as well as awareness of a heritage and diversity. So the next slide actually shows those pillars of a dual language education program, from which we used language and the goals of bilingualism and biliteracy, grade level academic achievement, as well as social cultural competence. The second strand is curriculum. So the core curriculum in the DLI program comes from the same publishers as the non-DLI classes. The math curriculum is the same, except it's in Spanish, and the literacy is similar, but to address the needs of a dual language classroom. What's really important in a DLI classroom are supplemental materials for instruction. We have purchased many bilingual and Spanish library books and classroom sets. We've incorporated Imagine Español and Imagine Language and Literacy into the program, which are online programs that promote literacy and English and or Spanish language development. RAS Plus is like an accelerated reader program with reading passages to develop vocabulary development as well as comprehension. And the last one is sound spelling transfer kits. So this pertains to cross-linguistic transfer, and that's the explicit instruction to students about the similarities and differences between the two languages. The third strand is instruction. So we've talked about the core content earlier, now, and that's the core materials that are used, but I wanted to highlight that this summer both schools will be giving extended learning opportunities for their DLI students during the summer. The fourth strand is assessment and accountability. So Lost Links is a research-based language assessment program, or assessment, and it measures language achievement in English and Spanish. And that's to our left, obviously, and to our right, we're talking about iReady on our right there, and you'll see a chart there. What this shows is that iReady reading in English and iReady math data both indicate that our students in DLI classrooms are doing as well as our students in non-DLI classrooms. What's really important to note is that first iReady reading in English, because what that tells us is that the students that are receiving most of their instruction in Spanish with ELD, they're able to use the content they've learned and transfer those skills into English, which research shows nationwide. There's been many publications related to it, but now we're seeing it in real life in our district. The next strand is staff quality and professional development. And as I said earlier, we work with California Association of Bilingual Education. We also work with the publisher for Benchmark Adelante for Spanish language arts and Benchmark ELD programs. We were going to several conferences, and we are still going there, depending on what the needs are. But CABE is a important conference, and La Cosecha for dual language immersion, and as well as GLAD and our connection to RCOE with the conferences they also have at RCOE, Riverside County Office of Education, that is. So we have shared resources so that we can be aligned as a district, because it's a district program. So we have shared resources both schools can access. Moving on to strand 6, we have family and community. So the sites, as well as the district, what we really want to do is promote and build capacity among our parents so that they can help their children. So we've had sessions that help the parents to help their children at home. We've also had cultural events such as Las Posadas, Dia de los Muertos, I'm going to change, and most recently, I'm going to code switch, últimamente, Dia de los Niños. So also, which is awesome, is that we have dual language immersion program websites at the district as well as the sites. And we promote and we recruit the program through sessions at early childhood education centers, and also, like for instance, this week, Joanne Litta will be working with the Jackson School site to have a session to recruit families. Support and resources is our final strand. And I alluded to earlier that we have a district leadership team for the DLI program, which has been essential for the development as well as the ongoing evaluation or self-assessment of the program. And it's really a great group of people, and we have cross-representation from a variety of departments, which is essential to ensure that you're really understanding and having a view of the entire program. So our central library media specialist has been a part of it. Personnel is a part of the program. Special education people are a part of the program, or part of, I should say, not the program, but the leadership team. So in addition, obviously, to the most important are the teachers, but also the administrators, but all these different people and all their educational partners and their lenses through which they can see what the needs may be, and they can help us address those needs, because as we grow, we need to have various people assisting with that process. So here we have an extremely short but important video on the importance of bilingualism. Internet.
Really?
It worked earlier. Well, if it doesn't, she talks about the importance of being bilingual so that she can speak to her grandmother. It's very important to be able to speak to her grandmother, which I think is really, really insightful. So I don't think it's going to work, but literally that's what she tells us. Now if I can go. So the importance of bilingualism is also recognized through the State Seal of Biliteracy. It's an award and a recognition of students that have studied more than one language and attained proficiency. But what's new coming up is that we are going to be awarding pathway awards. So we are going to recognize elementary and middle school students in their progress toward proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing in more than one language, in addition to English. So in closing, I just want to remind us all that if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Thank you very much.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Falk?
My brother's actually in this program at Reagan, and he's in kindergarten, and he loves it, and he's improving, and he didn't know Spanish before, and now he's like going crazy. So
there you go.
I'm like learning through him, and it's great. So I'm jealous I didn't have this, you know.
Thank you. Ms. Pierce?
I've been waiting for bilingual education to come back since I started. My first teaching job was in Redlands as a third grade bilingual teacher, and then I was hired by Nelda Esmeralda as a third grade bilingual teacher with all my Rigby books and everything in third grade when we opened Adams. And then it went away, and I was so upset. The state had that outlook, and I would always tell the parents, because I do my conferences in Spanish, and I would say that it's so important for you to have the two languages. It reaches so many more opportunities in your careers and jobs and everything. So to see this start, I lost my best friend, one of my good teacher, co-teachers at Earhart. Mr. Salinero left and went over to Reagan, but I know he's in a good place and he's wonderful. But to see those kids just picking it up, it's like they do with the military. They immerse you. It's like if we went down to Mexico or somewhere and we were immersed in the language, then you're going to pick it up and you're going to have to use it, and it just works. And to teach these kids when they're young and they can learn and transfer this stuff, it's the best time. So I am really a supporter and proponent of this education. It's great.
Thank you. Ms. Porras?
Great presentation, great program. Do they start them at Head Start with this?
Well, Head Start typically will support primary language instruction. There isn't an official, but we have, some of the teachers have been trained, like we help support that, so to speak, or encourage that. But as far as an official, I would say not necessarily, but they do promote it to the extent possible.
Okay.
Yeah, primary language instruction.
I just thought, the younger the better, so
yes.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Jonathan?
Thank you for the presentation. So glad to see this is happening in our school district. I have a couple of questions to ask you, and it is really important that we maintain the culture, that because they come to our school and they start speaking English, we don't want them to lose that, and that's important, especially with that young girl. She gave a perfect example. I wanted to know how, unfortunately, you rolled out this program and then COVID hit. How was the program affected because of COVID? I have to believe because our EL learners, our English language learners, were having difficulties. So was there a problem with some of the kids as far as the virtual learning and continuing with the dual language?
A great question. Language is learned in context, so kids were going to struggle. I mean, it's just like every child struggled. It's a little harder to learn language out totally remotely at that age, especially, right? But I'm totally amazed at how the program has, with the principals, the assistant principals, the project facilitators, just kept it going to the extent possible, and it flourished and despite the pandemic. But without saying it was, I mean, you can't say that it didn't impact kids, but encouraging the parents and the kids to stay in the program, they've stayed in the program. The program hasn't suffered that way. And I think from this angle of it's so important to stay in it and give it a chance. I mean, the kids, like her brother, he's in kinder, right?
So he's in kinder.
Yeah. But just that they learned in spite of all of it, and they're continuing. But of course, everybody suffered a little. To say that it didn't happen wouldn't be correct.
I think you've been looking at my notes because I was going to ask you if we had fallen in participation, but you're saying that we didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the summer schools Jumpstart it's being implemented, one, because it's a good way to maintain that language during the summer, because there's always a loss of academics during the summer, but also it helps with those students that may have kind of been fallen out of step with the dual language. Am I correct?
Yeah, and you can use different approaches. Different curriculum, extended learning opportunity always provides that extra time to try different activities and approach the instruction a little differently. But yes, will help.
Terrific. A couple more questions. The chart that you had in here, is that your chart? Because it says an example.
It is but for confidentiality.
Oh.
There are teachers' names to the left of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a school.
Because it said an example, and I'm thinking.
No, it's ours.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. And have you thought of, with your DLI district leadership team, have you thought of broadening it and maybe having some parent involvement, because they can tell you how successful sometimes that is at home that you may not see.
I think that's an awesome suggestion. I like that. Yep.
Terrific. And last thing, I love the Pathway Awards for the state sealed by literacy. I've been watching this, and it doesn't seem like we get that many seals, and I'm looking at this and saying, eventually we're going to be one of the leaders in our region, and that's what I'd like to see. And I also have to say, I don't know if it's like recognize the most awesome teachers that I have actually worked with, but Richard Romero is back there, and an incredible teacher. I taught with him over at Reagan, and he's going to be a principal or something someday because he's amazing. He's shaking his head. He's incredible. So it's so fortunate that you have people of the caliber of that working with you. So
I totally agree.
And thank you, principals, because you're doing a great job and making sure that our kids know that this is something important.
Thank you. I just had a couple questions. One is, what is the fidelity to the class? Because I know in some DLI classes, you have students that start and then they get switched. It either proves too difficult, maybe they're not Spanish speakers, proves difficult, parents move them out, or kids wanting to come in. What is the balance there? Are there more leaving the program, coming in?
No, we have not had a problem. The
There's no
retention
movement?
rate has been high, so we're very fortunate. In spite of the pandemic, you'd think there would be a mass exodus, and that didn't occur.
Okay.
So, yep.
And also always keeping in mind credentialing for teachers, making sure that they have the proper credentialing if we want to keep this a top-tier program. So.
Yep, always important.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
presentation.
Thank you.
And And moving on to item 13.3, Equity Collaborative Update, Superintendent Bailey.
Thank you. I'll take you back to 2018-19 when the district re-envisioned itself following its 50th birthday celebration. Whereas we worked with stakeholder groups, focus groups for about 1 year to develop a vision, mission, and values. So our core values have been on display and celebrated every month through our employee recognition program, as you know, called You've Got It, Incredible Talent. So shout out to Sean Webb for managing that program. As part of our values work, one of our identified values is equity. And equity basically shines a light on equitable practices throughout the district. It's a multi-layered approach, and unfortunately we got hit with the pandemic about the time we put the lens of equity on, so that this work has been facilitated largely by Dr. Rebecca Cook. I appreciate your facilitation of that. So this evening we're going to be giving the board an update on that work as we come out of the pandemic. Dr. Cook.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm excited and honored to have the opportunity to share a little bit of the work we've been doing for the past year and a half, 2 years or so. As Mr. Bailey mentioned, we started our work actually before we even became who we are with the development and the redesign of Desert Sands. As we developed our core values and our vision. That vision of equity is a lens through which we do make our decisions here in Desert Sands. So for the purpose of tonight, I just wanted to chunk our work into 3 kind of sections to make it a little easier to understand. And also I needed to do that to clarify for myself, how can I make this kind of clear to everybody. So we began with, in October of 2020, setting our purpose and building our team. From there, we started to dive into the data and looking at the root cause and what was going on in our district. And that was about September 2021 to January 2022 this year. And then we took a little pause and we had to reassess and regroup, and that's where we are right now. We became a little overwhelmed with some COVID issues and had a limited attendance at our meetings. And so because it was so important that we have many voices in the room, we did decide to take a little bit of a pause. So one of the things I do want to really clarify is that we started out as a task force. Mr. Bailey asked for this work. He said, let's have a task force and let's take a look at what's going on. And as we started our work together, we knew that our work was going to be much more long-term than a task force. So we created this collaborative to honor the ongoing nature of the work. And in order to be successful, we knew we needed to be a team. And to be a team, we had to have a purpose and we had to have some core values. And so I want to talk about that tonight. We actually, you may recall, we mentioned it a little earlier, we have a long-standing partnership with the National Center for Education and the Economy, and they developed the National Institute for School Leaders, which is what we use in our Golden Bell winning Desert Sands Leadership Academy. And in an effort to continue to align our work, we brought NCE in to partner with us and help us alongside as we developed our plan. And so together we did work with some consultants from NCEE and in the collaborative, and we came up with our purpose. And so our purpose is to, let's see what it is, to craft the vision around equity, to complete an in-depth contextual analysis around a set of equity indicators, and to inform district leadership of outputs as a first step towards determining the long-term plan for equity in Desert Sands. So we have a purpose, and as we were working through some of our work, we're like, we really also need a set of core values. Equity work is difficult. It's just challenging work. And so we also came up with our tenets, and we spent a lot of time. There's some people in the room I'm going to introduce to you in a little bit, and we spent a lot of time working through some exercises to get to our core values. And what we came up with were tenets. So our tenets are our core beliefs or our principles. So we agreed that we courageously aim to act ethically in our collaborative, and that we're committed to building relationships which bridge our diverse communities. Our group is diverse, and we all came in with different lenses of what we were hoping for and looking for in terms of equity in our district. We are also responsive to the needs of all learners, and that was important to our group because it's not just the students we're talking about. Our educators and leaders, we're all learners together. And that all learners are empowered and equipped to access multiple pathways for success. So it took us a long time to come together with that work, and about till the fall of 2021. And so that was when we went through our data review, our root cause analysis, and our stories. And what we did was we used a book called Building Educational Equity Indicator Systems. It's a guidebook, and it's written by the National Academies Press, research-based. And what we did was we centered our data around 3, we call them equity indicators. And each is chosen to address long, outstanding disparities and key educational opportunities and outcomes, which directly reveal equity gaps and opportunities in a school system. So that was a lot. For example, we looked at access to high-quality curricula and instruction. We looked at access to supportive school and classroom environments, and we looked at disparities in learning and engagement. Those were our 3 big buckets. We then realized we needed a whole lot of data. So together we worked, and through this document and our conversations, we found equity data indicators, and we called over to Educational Services and the Data and Assessment Office, and got a lot of good information working with Lee Baird. She was able to organize our data in a meaningful way, so we were really able to dig into it. And as we were doing that, we decided we really could use a work group. So we built up a work group, and they really dug through the data, met 2 to 3 hours a month, every other week. And then from there, we took that data to the collaborative where we started to do some root cause analysis. And then we realized we were meeting about once a month for 2 to 3 hours, and it just got to be a lot. That was the fall of 2021. We're going into October, November, December. We're starting to have a little bit of a rise in COVID cases. People were not able to come to work, and it just got to be a little bit too much. And so what we decided to do was, with the collaborative, was just do some listening to learn. We really wanted to hear stories, and the people in the collaborative wanted us to hear their stories. And I will tell you, and I've said it in a number of platforms lately is that has been a humbling experience for me as a human being and as an educator. Those listening sessions had a deep impact on me, like I said, as a human and as an educator, and that helped us to realize we needed to move in a different direction. And so now it's January 2022. We're having a lot of staffing things going on, and we're like, okay, let's take a pause. Let's really think about what it is that we need to do, regroup, reassess, and kind of see what's going on. And so I did some research. I went to some other districts, had some conversations with districts who have been having success with this work, and then in order to put our thoughts together, started to create an executive summary, which you have in front of you tonight in draft version. So here's the good news. We did recognize some small wins. As we started to put together this summary, we realized that we have built an LTE broadband network, and we did that before a pandemic. So as Mr. Bailey mentioned earlier, we have a lens on equity, and that actually served us very well as we moved into the pandemic and were able to provide our students with access to the network. Personnel is continually working and has stepped up our efforts to recruit to diverse colleges and universities, specifically building partnerships with historically Black colleges and universities. We've shifted our hiring practices a little and are much more intentional in the questions that we ask our candidates, trying to really get to their core values and ensuring that they do value equity and as they come to work with our students and staff. And finally, just this past couple of weeks, we've had some attendance at a couple equity conferences. And one thing I've noticed is it's not only built the capacity of our members, but it's allowed us to network with other people who are doing equity work and learn from them, gather ideas, and start really the ball rolling once again. My biggest win over the past few weeks, I'd say, or month or so, has been a deeper collaboration with Marla Capra, who's here tonight. She's going to talk to you a little bit later, and Lauren McGuire. Really listened to them carefully and learned that I need to bring them in as I'm planning my meetings. So they've been helping me with planning our collaborative meetings and actually helping facilitate them also. And as they looked through the collaborative summary, they really helped put some fine points on that. So I really appreciate that. And again, just listening to stories and really learning about different lenses and seeing the world through some different lenses. So thank you, Marla. And thank you for being here tonight. Talking about next steps, and then I'm going to introduce the people who are here tonight. We are committed to holding our meetings in person. We will hold the biggest room possible if we need to stay apart from each other and mask up, but we find our meetings in person to be much more effective. Again, I mentioned the collaborative planning with the team. And part of our action plan that we're building really is going to be about the creation of subcommittees, because those subcommittees will be able to help us with people who are experts in certain areas get to the root cause of what's going on in our district, so we can really find the true cause of our inequities and start making plans to improve our opportunities for all of our students. And I think my favorite win so far is a plan we have in the works, hopefully build out soon, to really do a better job of engaging our community in conversations around what's happening with them and what's happening in our schools. And that, I kind of want to say, is right there. So before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you again for listening. You have the draft of our collaborative, and I want to introduce a few people. Well, they all left, actually. That's not true. LaTanya's here. LaTanya's been very active in our collaborative. Thank you, Marla. I mentioned you a little earlier. Come on. Thank you, Marla, for standing up. And Verily in the back. There you go. And so that's all who could make it tonight, although I think Mr. Butts is listening on the YouTube. So I'm going to wrap up with that. And any questions, comments?
Ms. Falk, any questions or comments?
I'll take that.
Thank you. Ms. Pierce?
You know, I was looking at some of your small wins and seeing, yes, we've done those things. And then I'm trying to think, well, what is the equity and diversity, district-wide, what I've experienced in the last 25 or so years. And weren't we at that bias training that one time together? We started out that 2-3 years ago. And it's subconscious that we do some of these things, but also just thinking of the inequities depending on the Title I funding that your school gets.
Mm-hmm.
I could come from Adams School and have so many materials and so much equipment, and I go over to Earhart at the time, 7, 8, 10, 9 years ago, and they don't get as much Title I funds. Their budget was like 1/2 of it, but yet twice the size of the school, and I had to go buy my own, document camera. So, those are inequities in my mind. I mean, there are things, with the school appearances throughout the years that were different depending on where they are in the valley, but there's also equipment differences, and I keep thinking of curriculum and the Williams, Act, and we're supposed to be all, every, textbooks in every kid's hands, and they're all supposed to be available. But we do have work to do in this respect, in my mind, and I hope I'm on the right track with what your group is trying to do. But also not only to engage the community, but the teachers too, and what their perspective is, because some have moved around, and some see what their strengths and weaknesses are, and to really and parent feedback too, their perceptions. I love that you guys always do those thought things and the other surveys that really are getting more input, since we've been doing LCAP and everything. So I just think this is a good beginning. I noticed in your draft outline, you've got, 1 to 3, 4 to 5 or 6, and so on years. It's not going to go away. It's going to be constantly changing, and I think it's super, super important. Thank you for the report, and good luck with your next steps.
Thank you, Ms. Porras.
Good afternoon.
It's always great to see you. I appreciate your presentation. And I just you answered the question with the acknowledgments. I like that it's so well-rounded, that you've enveloped, the community, parents, students, administration, teachers, everybody. And anyway, I think it's great because that's what we need. We need to have everybody's input and to really see things through everybody's eyes, because we all have different experiences and experience everything differently. So it's really a great, great program. So thank you for the presentation.
Ms. Jonathan?
Thank you for the presentation. I did want to, and this may be something that we want to address later on at the end of the meeting, but I would respectfully suggest that a board member be on the committee as well.
Absolutely.
It is a task force. It directly affects our mission statement, our vision statement. Those are things that we as a board create. So if we're on the task force, then we see the importance of certain things that need to be brought forward. And I think that that's really important. So it would be my suggestion that a board member is added on, and this is one of the committee responsibilities for one of the existing people on our board. But I think it's great. I think that I'm glad that you took a pause.
We did.
Because it would have been wasted time, and I think that this is really important, and we do need to put the time and effort into it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll be happy to have a board member. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Dr. Cook.
Thank you.
Superintendent Bailey?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Cook, again for your facilitation and leadership, and thank you to the members of the collaborative, those present and those listening online. Thank you.
Moving on to item 14. Thank you. Public hearing, there is none. Now we're moving on to item 15, public comments on open session items. There were no online comments. And let me see. Let me go ahead and read it. Communications from the floor. In accordance with bylaws of the board 9323, time is reserved for oral communications by members of the Board of Education or by citizens present. Citizens wishing to be heard on agenda items shall have a 3-minute limit and should indicate their intention at this time. In accordance with the law, decisions of the board cannot be made on any matter not previously published before the board meeting, as indicated in bylaws of the board 9323.2. The first blue paper I have is Chase Coughlin. Is he here, or did he step out?
Yeah, he's coming right now.
Okay. Okay, he's coming? Okay.
Hi, I'd like to talk about how last week at my school, on Thursday, there was a pro-abortion rally held at my school by the Feminist Club that the principal was notified on Monday about by the leaders of the club. On Tuesday, the teachers were told. Security was told on the day of, but parents were never informed of it until they got a phone call saying the school's on lockout, where parents aren't allowed to come on campus and no one's allowed to leave campus while the protest is going on. During the protest, the news said it was mostly peaceful, which wasn't true. They went from my body, my choice to Black Lives Matter to F the patriarchy and just F men in all a span of 30 minutes. So I don't consider that peaceful. And then they started trying to start a mosh pit that security had to break up, which I don't know if you know about. It's not peaceful. But when I tried to start a Republican club, I was forced to wear a face shield, then put behind plexiglass, then kicked out of school for 7 months because I couldn't comply with your mandates that I was legally exempt from to do because you wouldn't want me in. And they're spreading blatant lies in the videos from the Feminist Club's Instagram, which they shut off the comments on. Obviously, they don't want people to criticize them. They were saying that they're taking away women's rights to vote now, which is not true. They're saying that old white men shouldn't make decisions on their bodies. I'd ask them about Fauci and Bill Gates. And then they're saying, well, what should we do when we need to get an abortion? It's like, 1, you're a minor, you shouldn't be having sex. 2, if you decide to, use protection. And 3, you live in California. If you're concerned about Texas, Louisiana, don't move there. It doesn't affect you. People who complain about things that don't affect them need to move on and stop bugging people. We have real concerns. How about that they let over 100 students walk out of class and skip office hours instead of making up work or working on finals? They were allowed to go and pretend to protest. I believe most kids went there to skip class for a half hour. And what Zink told in the email was that teachers have to allow students to come in, scan their IDs or type in their code, their student ID, and then they don't say anything on your opinion on the protest and just let them go to it, which I don't think's fair. When I tried to start a Republican club, no one was allowed to come, and I had people coming up to me asking why I was a racist. I was supporting Trump, saying he was completely terrible to women, yet ignoring Biden, surprisingly, but also not surprisingly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Karen Hernandez.
Good evening, everyone, board members, cabinet, and superintendent. My name is Karen Hernandez. I'm an assistant principal at Shadow Hills High School. Currently, my administrative duties are as follows. I oversee the custodian team of 7 members, our security team of 4 members, our discipline office for approximately about 2,000 students, also the maintenance and operations of all facilities on campus, the outside use of facility requests for our community and district staff, in addition to overseeing the MTSS PBIS team, on top of also supervising the math department, the science department, and the visual and performing arts department, and soon to be formal assistant principal of Shadow Hills High School by the end of this school year. I am here to present a letter to each and every single individual for our board members and our cabinet and superintendent, which I have here individually for every single person. I don't know who to give it to, so who do I give it to?
To Bland.
Here you go.
Thank you.
In this letter, I am voicing my thoughts and experiences and everything that has led up to this date and will continue to happen. And I hope that this voice is heard to give a full picture of a decision that was made without my voice being heard in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Andrew Parra.
Good evening. I'm just here representing CSE as the interim chapter president, and I don't have too much. Just want to recognize that this week is our classified employee week. So I'm actually doing site visits and recognizing and dropping off little goodie bags to our classified employees. Want to recognize the actual classified employees that are here actually working, stuck around for this meeting tonight. We appreciate all of you at all of our sites. The district wouldn't operate without our classified employees. And so I challenge all of you when you're out at sites this week, actually just reach out to your classified employees. And then I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at Standard Time, where we're going to recognize more of them. Also, we have a couple of retirements, and I know we're going to recognize them most likely tomorrow night, but they're on the agenda tonight. Randy Corwin out of purchasing, he's a buyer that actually is retiring after 20 years. And then also Catherine Larson, who is retiring paraeducator after 16 years. So thank you very much, and you have a good evening.
Thank you. Next is it Carrie or Gary Michael? Gary Michaels.
Good evening, board members. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Gary Michaels, and I'm a Republican running for Assembly District 47. My special interests are the taxpayer, the veteran, law enforcement, small businesses and our employers, and the American family as the foundation of our democracy. A vote for me is a vote for the American freedoms to speak your opinions out loud, to run a business, to self-protection, and to educate your children against anti-American propaganda and age-inappropriate sex education. I'll fight for a parent's choice in their child's education. I believe in a curriculum that includes the Constitution and American history. Now, I have wanted to come here for a while because I've been very inspired by the parents and grandparents and other citizens who've spoken here in previous meetings against mask mandates, critical race theory, ethnic studies, and so forth. Now, you know, as a school board, you have the authority to hire and fire the superintendent and approve policies and procedures for the district's students, faculty, and staff. And I've come here to talk to you about the teachers union. The California Teachers Association has long been California's top political spender. Spending twice as much electing California politicians as the next biggest spender. They are also a union conglomerate, as I'm sure you know. In Governor Newsom's political campaign, the CTA spent millions supporting him. The CTA takes a cut of every public teacher's paycheck and funnels it into a large part of a revenue that goes to Newsom and other Democratic politicians. During the pandemic, the unions kept schools closed as long as possible and extracted a heavy price for reopening. As 2020 drew to a close, the CTA launched a statewide disinformation campaign to keep schools closed. Teachers throughout the state were blasted with text messages urging them to call Governor Newsom and tell him that no schools should be open for in-person instruction. Governor Newsom in turn promised he would use the coronavirus crisis to deliver the torrent, these are his words, quote, the torrent of progressive words and phrases, unquote. So the CTA's behavior during the pandemic clearly demonstrates it's never about the kids. It's about money and power. And given their preponderance with Democratic politicians in the state, most of whom describe themselves as the progressive left, like Governor Newsom, it is woefully obvious what their agenda is. So I give you this pledge, board. If elected as the Assemblyman of Assembly District 47, I will work with parents to further the grassroots statewide
Your
effort.
time is up.
I will
Thank you.
create an action
your
network
time
to
is
stop
up.
what's going on. I will seek nothing
Sir,
less than
your
major reforms of the
time
CTA.
is
Thank you.
Up.
Thank you.
Next, Kenny's now.
Good evening. I was not at the last meeting here. I hope you didn't miss me too much. I was on a panel in Los Angeles teaching other concerned citizens how to identify critical race theory in their school districts. Speaking of CRT, this board and district administration still deny that critical race theory is being taught. In the words of Florence Henderson, cut the crap, Jan. You are playing sophomoric semantics. We all know here that epistemologies drive pedagogies, or in layman's terms, theories dictate how lessons are taught in the classroom. So no, there are no classes that teach specific critical race theory, but just as we all learned under behaviorist learning theory, that drill and practice, as we all know, without ever having a class on actual behaviorist theory, the lessons in classrooms are chock full of CRT. All you have to do is take a look at the ethnic studies course. And by the way, have you seen what's happening in Santa Barbara with their ethnic studies course? You should take a look. Take a look at the Effective Educator Grant. The 2 consultants that you hired are full-blown CRT salesmen. All you have to do is visit their website, dig down a little bit, look at the lessons that they've taught other school districts. You can't argue against that. And this includes the LGBT+++ agenda. In the 1803 Supreme Court case of Marbury v. Madison, Chief Justice Marshall stated, "A law repugnant to the Constitution is void." Last time I was here, I detailed how the California Healthy Youth Act of 2016 directs districts to actively hide transgender identity of any K-12 student from the parents if that student requests it. If that is not repugnant to you, there is something seriously wrong. But I also showed you how the AB 89, signed into law in 2021, directly contradicts that law by citing scientific evidence that kids are unable to make good judgment or decisions until way beyond the age of 18. How do you square that? Make no mistake, political activist groomers are making these decisions, not the kids. The district then encourages, enables, and protects groomers rather than protecting our kids, which you were elected to do. As leaders, you could let the parents know about these laws, but you choose to hide it from them instead. Any adult that feels the need to talk about sex and gender with kids should not be anywhere near kids. How many children in this district are victims of groomers? How many children have been subject to this district directing teachers to actively hide transgender identity from parents? We want numbers of all ages. Thank you.
Thank you. Your time is up. Next is Marla Capra.
Thank you for the opportunity to share. I'm a community member on the Diversity and Equity Committee. I wanted to share why I think the district needs to continue to grow in a more thoughtful way to meet the needs of our community more equitably. Our family is a family that looks a little different. We have 2 white kids and 1 daughter of color. I think what is most challenging about any conversation I have had about diversity or equity or social justice is the ability it takes to pause in a conversation and consider someone else's point of view and life experience when it isn't the same. When I say that we are a family that looks a little different, it means that we have been stared at a lot. People have asked me really intrusive and rude questions in grocery stores, parks, and birthday parties. I have been followed by security when I've been with my daughter of color. I haven't been waited on before with her. People have looked through me when I've talked to them, and people have been openly racist towards my daughter. This has made me pause in my own life and consider other people's life experiences much differently than I did before. This has also made me doubt myself and my own value in my community and my family's value the way we come. My community also has made up my kids' educational community, and there is an overlap of injustice that I find uncomfortable to share. As a parent, I often have told people that I have to separate my brain out to parent the different races I have in my family, because it would be detrimental to my daughter of color's well-being if I pretended the world didn't see color. Race isn't the only way our family is different. We are also a family of a number of other things that don't quite fit in the box. I think as a natural result, I have struggled as a parent to find a sense of belonging for my family, for my kids, and for me. And my heart aches for kids and families that have experienced similar things for different reasons. I have talked about these themes both in the district collaborative and in the community. I don't think it is talked about enough, and I don't think people pause enough unless they have had similar experiences. Whether someone is a person of color, or from an underrepresented culture, religion, an immigrant, from the LGBTQ community, a foster child, someone that has special needs, or is a family like mine, we are of equal value, and we are entitled to an equal and accessible education. I don't know if the district is going to be able to implement changes to address the injustices that are occurring, and this has made me feel really frustrated and powerless as a parent and a community member. Our kids pay a price for our inability as adults to find a common ground, and I think the common ground is our kids. I want this district to be accountable to all of our kids and families equally, and I feel like it falters in doing so, and it makes me sad for the kids in the classroom and their families. I want to remind myself and my family, and any other family that can relate, that we are valued the way we come, and we are all meant to shine, and it's okay to shine without waiting for permission. I also want to thank my husband and family for supporting me. Thanks.
Thank you.
I may not be the smartest man in here, but I'll tell you what, I know how to have a budget. I'm just trying to figure this out. Why is California have the number one paid teachers in the nation? Why is everybody that's in the education number one on the payroll? The principals, superintendents, everybody makes the most money here, but yet, why is California ranked number 37 overall in education? Why is the quality of education only ranked number 38 if we're the highest paid? I know if that were my employee, they wouldn't be working for me. Also, safety. You talk about safety in our California schools, we're number 32. The number one things we are number one besides spending, I'll tell you. Suicide rate, abortion.
Spanish, it's French. The Russians speak French. The Chinese speak French. The Nigerians speak French. The Haitians speak French. That is the second lingua franca. And Xavier offers immersion in French and Chinese. You're pandering to votes. You're pandering to your salaries. You're pandering to people jumping up and down, and it's not helping the people that you think it is. It is hurting them. They need to have these high cultural experiences, high mathematics, high science. They have to be given the opportunity to compete, and you're destroying them. I wager I could beat any kid coming out of here in SATs now because my SATs were much harder when I was growing up. And that is a racist move. It's not equity.
Okay. And we're moving on to the next item. Item 16, Board and Superintendent comments. Ms. Falk, do you have any comments? Okay, thank you. Ms. Pierce? These are my general comments, right? Your comments, board member comments.
One of the some things I've been doing in the last month is trying to visit the schools. 2 weeks ago, we were at a facilities study session 1 hour, and we were given these 32 pages of schools and priorities and things, and trying to really visualize what we're looking at and what's going on at the schools to really get around to see them. In addition, I wanted to see the schools with the kids back in them in a normal setting, and how they're flourishing and working on making up learning losses and just all the different aspects of the different schools how they're handling it. So most schools were doing the CASP testing, the state testing, and they're finished that. And now they're in their iReady third diagnostics, which is really, it's a really good program that I did not have a couple years ago, but it picks the deficits of children and it works them on those standards. At Roosevelt, I enjoyed meeting with Principal Martinez and taking a tour and all the remodels done in there, watching classrooms in there, looking at walking through classrooms there. At Jefferson Middle School, Principal McCormick, I was really impressed with her Parent Center and hearing at some of the different schools how much we were going to make available a room and a space for parents to learn how to go on Parent View, have any of their questions answered, really draw them in, and we had to exclude them for several years, but now to draw them in and educate them on what they might need to do to help their student more. Their Quiet Garden, the counselor center that was reaching out to so many, they have 2 counselors there, reaching out to so many kids that are dealing with grief and anxiety and things since this pandemic. At Franklin with Principal Knapp, their garden as well, but such a positive school climate that the kids and teachers really show there. And their excellent student behavior. They have their routines down. It just runs smoothly. I was really impressed with that. Saturday, I went to the middle school math field day at John Glenn last Saturday before. And unfortunately, this was a year that only Desert Sands could partake in. They didn't have they usually have a 3-district participation with Coachella Valley, Palm Springs, and Desert Sands, but because of the pandemic, it'll go back next year. They just had 65 students from the middle schools competing in a smaller setting, building towers and doing the games and so forth. So I was really glad to see that, and they still had an award, so it was not missed for the middle school. At Indio Middle School with Principal Hartman, the tour and visiting classes, seeing what things that her remodel gave that they needed and a few things that were missing for them, but really getting into the classrooms again and seeing the kids doing projects and back to regular schooling. Watching out in most of the elementary, they use the Playworks or maybe some other program where during the pandemic we used kind of like PE coaches type thing where they would go out and help structure for the kids, and the kids really enjoy it. They're down to a routine now, and the playground runs more smoothly with less discipline problems and difficulties with rules of games and things, so that was great. At Indio High with Principal Lawson, I was really impressed with the ag department and all the SEL things they're doing for the social emotional difficulties. His population has really been impacted with COVID, and the kids are really grateful for the counseling support we get and through the SAP program. And he was proud to show me on his computer the iReady progress and that the kids are doing. At Ford Elementary with Principal Preston and his WIN program, I love the rotations to where it can be, the intervention was worked into the program where the kids rotate. Those that need intervention did it and others went to other classes, but then at certain times the kids weren't missing their enrichment like music and art and things like that. I visited Kate Silvera's art classroom. Great things that she's doing there for the kids, and I told her I'd get her ceramics. We have to find out if their kiln works anymore. They might have an old one, we don't know. And they're looking forward to finishing the remodeling, cleaning up all around so that in the fall, the last of the cleanup and the refinishing of their blacktop will make that playground look great for the kids. At Indio High School, it's funny, I visited the ag department and they're looking forward to putting together their greenhouse someday. They're getting all these parts, talk about supply chain. are coming in piecemeal. But the Agcella was actually a little name for the Future Farmers of America. We were out at the Aziz Farms that we partner with out in Thermal and had a great night. I'd always gone at the fair to visit these animals and see, you know, the poor animals that were getting auctioned off. But these kids are so organized with their executive board and changing of the guard type thing where new officers came in and the seniors were exiting and getting scholarships and things. So that was a really great evening to see that. At Summit and Horizon, Principal Ramirez was out that day, but Dr. Strange took me through, and I said, I really don't know what this place is anymore. I always thought Horizon was independent study, Summit was an alternative high school. Well, I got right on the alternative high school for Summit, but to see that Horizon has like basically 11 different programs going on, and to see these elementary virtual teachers standing up and making movements, wearing funny hats, and really engaging these little kindergartens and first graders was really great to see that they are reaching those kids that have to be at home or want to be at home doing that virtual learning. So I think and it grew, it's up to 700 or 800 kids. And the Palm Desert High School, Principal Zink was headed to the baseball thing, so I talked to him for a few minutes, but Julie Carroll took me around and to see their professional dance career pathway and the CTE wing and visit classrooms. The cool thing is that it happened that the next day or so, they were having their immersion dance performance on a Saturday or Sunday at 2 and 7. I took my mom to this 2 o'clock one. It was the most amazing. It was 16 students, only one senior, but all 10th and 11th graders and some 9th graders. 16 girls that are dancing like I was at a Joffrey Ballet or whatever it is when I went to in Boston. I mean, just professional, in sync and everything. And to know that in that career pathway, they already have 6 master dance teachers that are collaborating with them, helping them learn how to choreograph and everything. I mean, to get out and see all this going on at the schools is so inspirational. Every school that I went to in elementary, they all want to show off their STEM lab and how engaged the kids are to go in there and you do their Lego robotics with either a basic kit or the one that can be motorized. So I watched these little first graders build a Lego snowmobile, put a motor on it, then program it to drive a certain place. And this is first grade. So that was really cool. At Carter, Principal Williams took me around. Now, he's never had a normal year yet. I think he was hired like 3 years ago. He barely got in there. COVID hit. And now he's got 2 years of remodeling to look forward to. But he knows there's an end to it, and it'll be good. So he took me all around to show what's going. At all of these schools, speaking of facilities, I was trying to say, what do you need? You know, they've got your priority listing here. But what do you to get other comments, because we have to make decisions on these, this facilities plan. And so that was good to talk straight with them. And in Jackson today with Principal Montano, beautiful garden. I always thought Earhart had the best one for elementary, but I think they might do it. And last year when I went and watched the dedication of their mural on the side, there was nothing in the garden. Now they're thinking of maybe they would sell it to Coachella Valley Harvest Box. And I said, forget that. You can sell directly to your community, but this Mark Tedros wants to do field trips. He's done a few. So get in touch with him and take these little farmers to his farm in Thermal. You know, his dad will lead it. So it was great to see the kids finishing their CASP and having a break before their iReady diagnostic, and also watching their learning rotations. They've got it down. They're working for the teacher to be in small groups, and the kids are moving around the room, and we're really trying to make up that learning loss in the intervention ways, the small groups inside the classrooms. It's being done. And in Madison today also with Principal Amy Zink, beautiful campus. She's so proud of it, so lucky, she says, to be there. The teachers actually moved in the last of the buildings just at spring break, and I love the design and everything. She has a wonderful staff. I met a counselor who's doing so many SEL groups, and also with the support of the SAP counselor once a week. But that school is a small school, but it's doing, what is that noise? Is it my microphone? Anyway, they're doing such great work with the groups and the kids because they've been impacted a lot also with COVID. Then the last thing I did this afternoon, I had been to visit John Glenn Middle School before, and a couple weeks ago, and I found out they're having a 6th grade orientation. Well, I knew that some of my kids in 5th grade from Earhart would come over there to it, so I thought, I'm going to stalk these kids. No, I want to come over and see how their orientation goes. And I was able to see a lot of my kids that I had in 2nd grade coming from 5th grade. They were either 2 categories. They're real excited. They might have had an older sibling that did this. The ones that didn't, they're like, I'm kind of scared, you know. So it was nice to see that. And then they all went in the multi-purpose room and went over all the setup so the kids would be front-loaded for what's coming up in the fall. But I just want to say that when I get out and go to these classrooms and schools, it's just makes me smile because I'm out there seeing what we're really here for, the kids, and it's just the best experience to get. I have to put makeup on, and I schedule 2 and dress up instead of being all grubby, and I make it a day, you know, so it works out well, and I enjoy it. Anyway, there's great things going on here. Thank you.
Ms. Porras.
Well, first of all, I just have to say that I really appreciate Mary Perry. She does an amazing job of keeping us informed of all the wonderful things that's happening here at the district. So I just want to give her a shout out. And also, happy Classified Employees Week. We would not be anywhere without our classified. Appreciate them so, so much. And McKenna, thank you so much for being here and being a part of our board. I'm excited for you to be here with us. I too went to the math field day, and I don't remember seeing you there. Did
You were
I?
there in the early session, and I came when they were building the towers.
Oh, okay, because President Conover and I went there, so. But it was very, very tiny. It wasn't big and huge, so. And then I also attended on Zoom the Johnson's PQ graduation, and that was really exciting. And then I also met with Dr. Jay Rallian. He's the president of our Head Start, president or principal of Head Start, and anyway, he went over the California State pre-K program of their self-evaluation. And it was really interesting how they break everything down. And I thought, man, there's like 45 different things that they have to check off on each one of these little kids. And I thought, man, that has got to be so difficult, you know, just like herding cats, these little tiny people. But they break it down to just 3 things instead of all these things, but they break it, you know, kind of customize it. But they're just doing wonderful things at our early childhood education. And also went to the Indio High School FFA Awards dinner with President Conover and Trustee Pierce, and got eaten up by mosquitoes because it was out in thermal, but it was great. It was out on Avenue 60. If everybody knows where Avenue 60 is, if you've lived here forever, you kind of know that's way out there. And but it was wonderful with the Aziz Farm, and we really had a good time, and it was great brought a tear to my eye to see Superintendent Bailey get an honorary, the award for officer, yeah. So that was really great. And anyway, Wendy and I went to Be the Change presentation that was at Shadow Hills. Ben, I can't remember his last name, but he came at the last meeting and talked about and invited us to go. And it was wonderful. It was like all of the students, it was at lunchtime, and they had like the science boards all set up, and they each chose one thing to talk about. And some of them talked about sex trafficking and body imaging and everything that you can imagine that had to do on an social emotional level. And I just thought it was so great to see these kids actually talking about this, you know, because this is something, mental health and that kind of thing, people just really don't talk about it as well. They are now, but a long time ago they didn't really talk about it. But it was really great to see the kids really involved and engaged and just really wanting to help, and that's really what it was about. So, but it was great for us to go together. And then President Conover and I went to the DSEF job fair at Indio High School, and they had the Chandi group and In and Out, and I can't remember. There was several people represented there, but what they did was they had a job fair for the kids to come in the morning, the high school kids, and then adults could come in the afternoon. And they had a pretty good turnout, I thought. I thought it was a pretty good turnout, but it was really great to see that the community coming together, and there was a ribbon cutting and all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, that was it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Jonathan.
Yeah, I want to say that Be the Change was incredible over at Shadow Hills. It kind of gave you a snapshot about how students are feeling about certain issues right now and what's important, because we saw a commonality with many of them. And something that I was very impressed with by Ms. Porsche, she was making sure, have you thought about creating a group, a club at your school? You know, that's good. You can write that on your resume if you go to college. I mean, I was like so impressed. Maybe you could do a club for this. Maybe you could do a club for that. So it was very informative, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we were asked to be there, and I think that it was important for us to be there. Wanted to say thank you to Mary Perry for everything you do. I remember when we first hired a PIO, and how important you've been in our district, and I appreciate you and all you do for us. As a former classified member, that was what I was before I went into became a teacher. I know how important all the classified staff in our district work, and I want to say thank you to all those classified members, and that we really do appreciate you. McKenna, you sounded like a college graduate when you gave your report. I was like so impressed. I just want to say what an honor it has been to be on the dais with you, so thank you so much. And finally, I just wanted to clarify, we in the state of California have one of the largest economies in the world, but what was failed to be mentioned is that we are one of the lowest in the nation in spending per student. California does not make it a priority to spend money in education. We're somewhere around 42, I think, now. We have been at 46, and 50, if we were 50, that would mean we were the last one, the least funding per student. So I think that it needs to be clarified that we are working with the funds that we have from the state. Hopefully they will see there's an importance in spending and putting money into our education.
Thank you. Superintendent Bailey.
Thank you. Once again, McKenna, thank you for your service on the board. Concur with Vice President Jonathan's remarks. A shout out to our classified personnel. We want to celebrate you this week, but every day as we move forward, looking forward. Sands of Time is tomorrow evening, and I'm looking forward to that event where we recognize all the retirees district-wide. We have graduations to look forward to, kicking off graduation season, which is an awesome period of time each school year, and that starts Tuesday with Amistad's graduation. And then finally, looking forward also to May 24th, our finale Bailey and Coffee. Thank you, Mary Perry. Also introducing, as we hand off superintendency, Coffee with Kelly. So we'll be passing the torch, so to speak, at that event. It's at IW Coffee on Country Club in Palm Desert, 7:30 a.m., and that is May 24th, followed by the tour of modernized schools. So those are my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. So many of you have covered a lot of the events that I went to as well. McKenna, congratulations on your presentation. Thank you. And so there's a lot of good things happening at Desert Sands. And I know this is a time of the year when we actually recognize the staff. We have certificated week, we have classified week, we have admin, everybody is celebrated. And I want to thank everyone for working to the best of their abilities and sometimes beyond that. I know that there are many days when schools were and still are, there's shortages due to COVID, lack of subs, and it's just, I want to thank everybody that has helped alleviate the staffing shortages, from covering classes, covering duties, taking in extra students, helping cover a colleague's absence during your prep. I know I've even seen at LBJ when I drop off the kindergartner, when I have drop-off duty, I see Principal Fisher out there doing crosswalk duty. It's like, so he's out there quite a bit. So I mean, I want to just thank everybody for everything that you do. Know that you are appreciated. And with that, we are moving on to item 17. General Functions, Business Services. There are 6 items in General Functions, Business Services. Is there a motion to take these items as a group or individually?
I move that we take them as a group. Linda Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Wendy Jonathan.
It has been moved and seconded that we take items 17.1 through 17.6 as a group. Any discussion?
I had a question thinking of local farms and produce and so forth. The piggyback that we do with Moreno Valley for the Sunrise Produce, where is that company at?
I do not know where Sunrise. I'd have to report back to the board.
I just wondered because I'm just so into like using local. I mean, let's get the local, and we always said we'd try to do that. And I just wondered maybe their prices are so great that it's the way to go. But it just popped in my head. Thank you.
Any other comments, discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? This motion carries. Moving on to item 18, General Functions, Educational Services. There are 8 items in General Functions, Educational Services. Is there a motion to take items 18.1 through 18.8 as a group or individually?
Make a motion, Tricia Pierce.
Is there a second?
Second, Linda Porras.
It has been moved and seconded to take items 18.1 through 18.8 as a group. Is there any discussion?
I'm going to make a brief statement on 18.6 Desktop Pro. As somebody who worked for, who's now retired, I worked in a CPA office. You wouldn't believe how many people we have come to apply for a position and don't know how to use desktop. They don't know how to do Word. They don't know Excel. And I'm just so happy to see that we're having that as a provisional course, because that's something that really, it's a basic basic skill that all of our students should be having. But I'm glad to see it on the agenda because it's so needed, and I'm hearing that from other companies as well across the valley.
Okay, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? This motion carries. Item 19, General Functions, Personnel Services. There is none. Item 20, General Functions, Student Support Services. There is none. Item 21, General Functions Superintendent. 21.1, Resolution number 32/2021-2022, Remuneration of the Board.
I make a motion.
Second, Linda Porras.
There we go. And it has been moved and seconded. Is there, and I just want to state that I was not here. I was out for the count. I had COVID, and it was not a good time.
And I want to say you were missed. You're a great president, so thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So is there any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, as this is a resolution, it calls for a roll call vote. Ms. Falk? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ms. Pierce?
Aye.
Ms. Porras?
Aye.
Ms. Jonathan?
Aye.
And I will be abstaining. This motion carries with 1 abstention. Moving on, item 22, consent item, student matters. Superintendent Bailey.
Thank you. One item related to closed session agenda 3.1, tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve a stipulated expulsion number 21/22-63. This was approved on a motion by Ms. Porras, seconded by Mrs. Jonathan. Motion carried 4-0.
Thank you. Item 23, consent items, business services. There are 6 items in consent items, business services. Is there a motion to take items 23.1 to 23.6 as a group or individually? Is there a second?
Second that motion, McKenna Folk.
It has been moved and seconded to take items 23.1 through 23.6 as a group. Any discussion?
Yeah, I was looking at the professional services with murals for schools. Where's this organization? Is it in the Valley, or? I know we've used different individual artists, and I didn't know what is that mural going to be. Do we ever get to see it ahead of time when you? That's a Black Hawk. That's it. Okay. All right. That's another one. Yeah. I'm asking you where all these places are. Never mind. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? This motion carries. Item 24, consent items, educational services. There are 10 items in consent item educational services. Is there a motion to take items 24.1 to 24.10 as a group or individually? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Tricia Pierce.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? This motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 25, consent items, personnel services. There are none. Going on 26, consent items, student support services. There are 6 items in student support services. Is there a motion to take items 26.1 to 26.6 as a group or individually?
I make a motion to take them as a group. Tricia Pierce.
Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded to take items 26.1 through 26.6 as a group. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on, item 27, consent item, superintendent. There are none. Item 28, personnel action certificated. Dr. Hyde, do you have any items?
I do. I have 2 appointments I'd like to announce. The first one is under certificated personnel, 28.1, action item number 20 on page 3. We are pleased to recommend the appointment of Jessica Morrow to the position of principal at Kennedy Elementary School. Second item is agenda item number 21 on page 3. We are pleased to recommend the appointment of Ruby Barrero to the position of educational psychologist.
Thank you. 28.1, certificated personnel. As this item deals with personnel, our student board member will not be voting. Is there a motion to approve item 28.1, certificated personnel?
So moved, Linda Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Wendy Jonathan. And would you like to announce the retirees? Since you are the head of personnel.
Sure, I can announce the retirees. I could give you their total combined years of service.
Everything. Thumbs up.
You want the full enchilada? You got
just,
the whole enchilada?
I'm letting you be famous, and this is your 15 seconds of fame at every meeting.
I'll try to make the most of it, Mrs. Jonathan. So first off, Karen Gloyd, who's retiring after 12 years of service from Indio High. April Custis, who's retiring after 23 years, and she's currently at Johnson Elementary School. And Catherine Thompson, who's retiring after 15 years of service from Van Buren Elementary School, from a total of 50 combined years of service to the district.
Is there any other comments or discussions? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I will be abstaining. This motion carries. Item 29, personnel actions classified. Dr. Hyde, do you have any items?
I do not.
As this item deals with personnel, our student board member will not be voting. Is there a motion to approve item 29.1, certificated or classified personnel?
Linda Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Wendy Jonathan. Would you like to announce the retirements again? This is adding on to your 15 seconds.
Certainly. First off, we have 2 employees retiring for a total of 36 years of combined service to Desert Sands. First off is Randall Corwin, who was in purchasing. He's retiring after 20 years of service to the district. And our second employee is Catherine Larson, who is retiring as a paraeducator, special education for severely disabled students from Amelia Earhart Elementary School.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? This motion carries. Item 30, call out of closed session action. Superintendent Bailey.
2 items this evening. First one is in reference to closed session agenda item 3.2. Tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve general release and settlement agreement, SSS number 03/2021-2022. This item was approved on a motion by Mrs. Jonathan, seconded by Mrs. Porras. Item carried 4-0. Second, I have an item related to closed session 3.3. Tonight in closed session, the board took action to accept the resignation agreement for certificated employee number 273571, teacher, under the terms of a settlement agreement. This item was moved forward by Mrs. Porras, seconded by Mrs. Jonathan. The item carried 4-0.
Thank you. And moving on to item 31, suggestions for future agendas that receive at least 3 votes. Ms. Falk, do you have any suggestions? Okay. Thank you. Ms. Pierce? Ms. Porras?
I have none.
Ms. Jonathan?
I would suggest that we add to the agenda about creating a committee member for the Equity and Diversity Collaborative.
I have 3 nods. We have it. All right. And I would like a presentation to the board in June on the status of our special ed inclusiveness. There seems to be, it seems like kind of a push towards full inclusion, and I'm all for inclusiveness when it is appropriate. Special ed is not a one-size-fits-all program, and it should be based on a couple of factors. Is it appropriate for the child? Are we adequately staffed? And is the staff, teachers, not just the special ed teachers, but the general ed teachers, as well as the paras, are they properly trained? And do they have the training before they're in that classroom setting? Do I have 3 votes, 3 nods? Yes. Okay. Moving on to item 32, announcements. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education will be on Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the District Education Center Boardroom at 47950 Dune Palms Road, La Quinta, California. And item 33, we do not need to reconvene to close session. And 34, adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 9:25 p.m. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Hello, stranger. Laura.